I didn't wanna. I tried to avoid it, but now I'm gonna gotta. Doggone it. Okay, gonna see if we can do this in real time. Okay, you ready? Go. Remove the clip from the choke spring. Choke linkage, put your clip back on. Some of the things you can do while it's still on the car. Yeah, that's loose, so we don't have to worry about that. You don't have to do this, it's something I like to do because it's securely mounted. If you put something as a backstop here, because you're going to drive that pin out. This pin right here. Which is the accelerator pump pivot. And if you don't want to drive it all the way back into the air horn, you slip something in here like this and keep driving the pin. But it looks like my punch might be too big to get all the way through. Almost. Okay. Don't have to worry about that. Auto return spring. Pressure's on. Throttle linkage. Kick down linkage. Distributor vacuum advance line. ACV. Fuel line. Mounting hardware. Time! Since it has this steel shim, I want to do a little investigative analysis. There's a high temp gasket. Top, it says, oh, somebody's been in here before. Took this off, scraped off the carbon that was on the crossover. I want to look for vacuum leaks. Pretty soft and gooey. I really don't see any leading indicators. Obviously I got to clean all the gasket off of there, but yeah, on with the show. So we had the thermal gasket, the steel plate, and now this gasket. It's just more possibilities for vacuum leaks from something that sat for 15 years. This could be an issue. Just have to compensate with the idle mixture. So, on to disassembly. Much smoother and easier than when we first got it running. Someone has run these in tight and they've put a ring in the needle. We'll check out the bores that they fit into the seats. Same way with this one. Once you do this, you've made a commitment. But I'll show you here in a second. Those two flats right there go into this linkage right here. Once you pull that out, you are committed to having to angle this to try to get it together. Because it's gone. That piece of linkage is gone. It disappears when you do that. But we'll show it to you on assembly. Most carburetors will have a screw here for that. This one does not. Pull the clip out. Pull the linkage out. Come on, you. This is what I said about having to angle the carburetor. It's lost and gone forever. Why aren't you not falling out? This is what just fell off. That's your secondary throttle plate lockout. If the choke is on, the secondaries will not open. Well now, I guess we'll wait till it comes apart. Secondary metering rods. I'll check these for the slots. They do. They have the little slots in here, which gives it just a wee bit sooner fuel and more of it. Don't forget your 2 screws down inside the air horn. If you don't have one of these, you should have one of these. Just saved me a trip to the toolbox. That's all. Loose! I always like finding things that are messed up inside or outside, because then you know it's going to be better when you put it back together. Well, it's going to be better when some of you put it back together. It'll be worse when some of you others put it back together. I ain't naming names. I believe that's all of our fasteners. If you leave the accelerator pump linkage on, then you have to finagle this thing and try to turn it up like this without damaging the air tubes here, which I don't want to do. It's amazing this thing worked. It's absolutely amazing. Alright. There's our culprit. That is unacceptable. These are your primary metering rods. That should go right back up to the top whenever vacuum is not applied. It's kind of gritty. So this would run good sometimes and then not run good. This I have never seen before. Maybe some of you have. That's probably what keeps it pushed down in there. They had a plastic retainer that went around here on everything that I've done. Maybe this is just older and this was the type of retainer they used. Primary metering rods. Oh, and it's bent. Somebody been in here. When I say the culprit, this is what I'm talking about. Composite floats. It's blistering on the side. So it's starting to soak fuel and run rich, which is exactly the condition that we have. Needle and seat look okay. One comes in the kit anyway. So there's your shot of the dirt in the bottom. Not bad. Not bad at all, really, for what we started with. One of the other things that I should have done while it was on the car was to loosen this nut. For the fuel filter. Well, not a nut. The fitting. The fitting. Oh, look at that. Oh, I hope we have another one of those gaskets. Why, you're being troublesome. Feels like the spring is against the fitting instead of the filter. But it's not. Oh, the fine screen. Well, that's got to go. Interesting. Wonder if I can sell that on eBay as an original part. Numbers matching. $3.96. Yes, a paper one will be going in there. Well, a fiber one will be going in there. Oh, a helicoil. Look at there. Whether or not this is the carburetor that came on this car, I don't know. It is period correct because it does not have the number stamped here. It has the circle here, which you can see the stakes. There used to be a tag inside there, which obviously is no longer there. Accelerator pump return spring. Accelerator pump check ball plug. See, now this linkage will probably fall out here. It's not in there. So where did it go? Well, there it is. It is in there. Oh, don't lose my clip. See if we can snag it with the... that one. Check ball. Just so in case you wanted to see it. Oh, no. Well, it made it to the floor. But there's another one in the kit. Now, this has two little screws that hold the seat in. I have never seen that. I have to check this kit close before I open it. Because if it doesn't have that type of seat in it for the float, I better not open that kit. What we got? They got no numbers on them. They've been out before. Don't look bad down in there. Not exactly tight. That one had a lock washer under it. That one did not. This one's got it stuck down in there. And it's still stuck down in there. Am I missing a screw? I don't think so. Oh, there's a good pry point. Now this will work. Hear the ripping and tearing and the shearing of the gasket. Uncooperative. Don't care which one it comes off of, just come off of it. Wow. I ain't never had one fight me like this before in my life. A little fuel compatible silicone will be good to go. So the Quadrajets that I have worked on over the years have mostly been through the 1970s, late 60s. I've never been into a mid 60s. Plugs in the fuel well. These are brass. They went to aluminum plugs and staked down over the top of them, and they would leak. In the kits, you would get a piece of compressible foam that fits down into here, which would take care of that problem. Supposedly. A lot of times it would get JB welded. Here's a piece of foam. It looks like it came right out of there. Right out of there. So it wasn't quite properly positioned. Don't look near the right size. Well, alright, gotta go clean them up. Oh, check the kit. What else was I going to check? Oh, this was interesting. On a 2-barrel carburetor, you have accelerator pump check valve. So the ball goes in, a spring goes on top of the ball, and then you would put this thing in there. But this doesn't go anywhere. So I don't know why they stuck that in there. But that's exactly what that is. It's a retainer for a 2-barrel. The mysteries never end on this car. Alright, gotta go clean this up. Now, I were gifted a box of Quadrajet carburetors. Wow, look at that. there's the seat, there's the retainer, and there's the screws. Yeah, neato. I'm going to call that the right kit. Okay, box of carburetors. Unfortunately, they're all sitting outside for years. I'm going to go retrieve some. Swing and a miss. Out of 7 carburetors, all of them had numbers stamped on the housing, with the exception of one that had the aluminum tag in the side of it, but it was just the air horn. It didn't have a throttle base. So the only separate throttle base, and all these carburetors have been taken apart. The air horns they've had parts taken off of them, and they're just held together by the accelerator pump linkage. So, back to what I was saying. I have one carburetor with this air horn, which has the correct choke on it, but the pull-off diaphragm is bad. So, that's a swing and a miss. And the separate throttle base that I found has a different linkage setup than this, although it's very similar. It does have the 3 holes, but they're not in the same position, and it does have the ball stud on here for the kickdown. But, again, not in the same configuration. So the position of this in relation to the position of these is different. So, swing and a miss on that. Now I have to find... I know I have one of those choke diaphragms. I know I do. Oh, the other thing I forgot about checking was the bores for the idle mixture screws. You can see the groove in it. Groovy, man. So the next thing you're going to look for is to see whether or not that hole there is flared out. I have seen them to where these are actually flared out from somebody cranking the screws in and spreading it. But we don't see that here. So that's just going to have to do, pig, because I don't have a throttle base for this, other than this one. Alright, I'll clean it up. Come back then. Good news, bad news. Good news is the kit that I got is indeed corresponding with the carburetor I have. Earlier I said the tag is missing because prior to 74 there's no numbers stamped on the body. But this thing is not in good condition. Let me show you. It almost looks like this thing was sandblasted, but it hasn't been. But you see the different damages. Find a little pointer thingy. Like up on here, you see this down here. There's no reason there should be damage there. And that's really insignificant. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that all along here has just been corroded. And somebody put this carburetor back together. It looks like it sat out and oxidized and corroded, and they just cleaned it up and put it all back together. Now, I told you that I had a pile of carburetors out back. Been laying in the weather for 10 years or so because that's the way I got them. And I mentioned that the only one of them that does not have the numbers in there and has a tag on the side of it shows that it's a 703-6200. So this body will work. See, it's got the brass well plugs there. So it is a pre-74 carburetor, but let's go find out what it is. Quadrajet 703-6200. No! 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 Say it isn't so! say it is so. Let's go. Now, some people don't believe there is God. I do. Now, what were the chances that 10 years ago, some guy would give me a box of junk quadrajets, and in that box happened to be this part? 10 years ago. Count them 10. 10, 10, 10, 10. Let's sing a song of 10. How many is 10? Now, there was a fellow what subscribed to my channel a few months back called The Old Man's Garage, Bill Hoskinson, and he had a video. He's got a nice 78 Malibu. I know most of you don't think nice and 78 Malibu don't go together, but they do. So, he's talking about getting a carburetor for it. He's going to get a 750 CFM. And people told him that you can't run a 750 CFM, or you shouldn't run a 7. You know, that's kind of grindy in there. I'm not going to turn that any farther till I get some lube on it. Well, the fact of the matter is, they're both right. Because if you run the formula for CFM on a 350 cubic inch engine, what a difference some lube makes. I can almost take it out with my fingers. Yeah, almost. If you run the numbers, your cubic inch displacement times your RPM divided by 2, can't remember, times 80% volumetric efficiency. That's the key, the 80% volumetric efficiency. And the RPM, because on a stock 350 Chevrolet, you're going to max out at about 5 grand. You're certainly not going to be making power above that. So you're going to formulate your formula for 5,000 RPM. Now it's got a little stem thingy to keep the... Okay. Where was I? Okay. 5,000 RPM. Because after that, it's just going to go, and the valves are going to float. So Bill is running aluminum heads with monster ports. He's running a camshaft with high lift, and all of those things are going to increase your volumetric efficiency. So he's bumping up, I don't know, probably 90% or better volumetric efficiency. And the other thing is, he's running that thing 6,500. So once you calculate all that, that's certainly going to change the amount of CFM that you're pulling through the engine. And it also doesn't, the formula doesn't take into consideration scavenging. So when on the valve overlap, depending on what cam you're running, that exhaust gas rushes out, and you got, you know, you got your 2 valves. So exhaust valve is open, and let's see, let's do it this way. Exhaust valve is open. Let's do it like that. So exhaust valve opens up, piston comes up, forces the exhaust gases out. There's inertia involved. So as the exhaust valve is closing, the intake valve opens up, and there's valve overlap. They're both open at the same time. You have inertia of the exhaust gas going out, creating a low pressure, actually pulling intake charge right through and out the exhaust. So you can run a 750 CFM carburetor on a 350 cubic inch engine and gain more power if your cam and heads are set up to do that. And his is. Next thing we want to talk about, I don't know why I'm getting into this, but I am. Every quadrajet uses the same bores on the base. You could have a 600 CFM carburetor or a 750 CFM carburetor from the same throttle base that runs the same amount of air. The difference is how you jet it for how much fuel you get. Because, and that's why you don't run a 750 CFM Q-jet on a 350 stock 350 Chevy, because it'll just dump the fuel to the thing. So that's where the CFM comes in. It's not the amount of air that the carburetor itself will flow through the throttle plates. Say that 3 times fast. I can't even say it once slow. It is on how much fuel the jets will allow to pass through at the attained CFM of 635 or 750 or whatever it is. So there you go. There's your carburetor CFM lesson for the day. Back to the numbers matching! Thought that might be a problem. This isn't going to do you anything. I got to do the Danger Will Robinson method. That's right. Got to use heat. I need a little jeweler's torch is what I need. The needle and seat are in the kit. That's not a problem. The problem is melting the die cast. That's a problem. Yes, I actually do have a torch tip like this. Running propane. These don't like to run propane. I want to see the screw glow red. It's not wanting to do it. That's not wanting to do it either. But you know what? It got good and hot. I'm going to let it sit there and... Ooh, did you hear that? That's what we want to hear. I got new screws in the kit. I only get one chance at this. So we'll let that come back to ambient temperature. Let's see how it goes. That's such a shallow head on that one. There's 2 different screws, so that one don't feel good. That one don't feel good. I got this here old motorcycle screwdriver. Slides inside the handle, so I could get a good metallic wrap on that. I think I'm going to throw the heat to it a second time. Except in this time I'm going to burn the flame a little higher. Ah! About as high as it go. Got her red hot that time. Got that red hot that time too. Then we'll see what happens. Back to ambient. We'll wrap it a couple of times while it's hot. Wait for ambient. Man, it's only been a minute. It's already cooled off quite a bit. If I can touch it, let's give it a go. Yes. That's a beautiful thing. Oh, that came right loose. Back one, not so much. It's tightening up. We'll do that to it now. Get that lubricant to work its way down into those threads. Can't strip it, can't break it off. Whoops, trying to strip it. Oh, I hate when they do this, because now it doesn't want to tighten down where it used to be. That's never a good thing. If I throw the heat to it, and this stuff is down inside the threads, that can cause coking, which will bind it up further than what it is. What to do? Carb cleaner. I gotta go find my MP, my AMSOIL MP carb cleaner. I just blew the little screw out of there. It's going a wee bit further. Yay, I found it. Induce vibration. Reapply. Induce vibration. Attempt. Extraction. This is why I love this stuff. Yeah. That screwdriver's too wide. Just got to go back to those 1966 vintage screwdrivers. It's almost too wide. But not. Still a little too wide. Reapply. Induce vibration. I guess I'll just have to come all the way out with the vice grips. Nope, I don't want to come. Binding up. Watch your eyes. Carb cleaner. Watch your eyes. So this time around, I'm going to heat up that head red hot. These tips do not like to run propane. You got to be real slow and careful with adjustments. Gah! Don't ever light your torch like that. Look at that. Oh, fire! Since the head's not making contact with the casting anymore, it ought to heat right up glowy red. Not enough. More flame. Oh, I've shut my tanks off. Silly me. It is actually easier to light the torch with the oxygen on with this thing. That wasn't true at all. Oh, better. So I get that head a bright glowy red and hold it there. And the heat is transferring down through the bolt. Or the screw anyway. Again, we'll let that return to ambient temperature. Ooh, well, I got dangerously close there, didn't I? Casting wanted to start melting right there. That's where the float pivot goes. So we're okay. Cool down completed. A spritz. A tap. Let's see if it accomplished anything. Well, we can go farther back to the right than we could before. Yep, that's a little bit better. Yeah, I'm blocking the camera. Sounds like it broke off. Doggone it. It did. However am I going to repair that? So happy. I was so happy. Watch your eyes. Because you ain't going to put a nut on it and weld it. More work. Well, I knew I stood a good chance of doing that. So I have a drill bit small enough. I wouldn't trust my drill press because it doesn't run true. I have access to a drill press that does run true. I've got access to a Bridgeport, But how? Oh, how? There's no such thing. Well, I don't think there's any such thing as a easy out that small. I guess you haven't seen it yet, have you? Well, I can go ahead and throw it in the soak. Put it in vinegar. That'll take care of all the aluminum oxidation. Doggone it. I didn't wanna. I tried to avoid it, but now I'm gotta. Doggone it. Okay, gonna see if we can do this in real time. Oh, not with that happening. But now I'm gotta. Wow, look at that. There's the seat, there's the retainer, and it's got the screws. Because then you know it. Because then you know it's going to be better when you put it back together. Well. Oh no, don't fall into the box with you. If you leave the accelerator pump if you leave the accelerator pump linkage on, this I have never seen before. Maybe some of you have. They usually have the plastic insert here. This I have never seen before. Wonder if I can sell that on eBay as an original part. Unbelievable. It worked the first 2 times. Which obviously is no longer there. Still in frame? Yeah. So you could have a 600 CFM carburetor, or that is the oxygen side. Well, it worked in rehearsal.